So welcome and good morning. Good morning, Sedona, and everyone else who is with us and listening today. I'm Shera Sever, founder of Igniting the Spark, and I am honored today to have the opportunity to have a conversation with Sedona Mayoral Candidate Kurt Gelbach. Welcome.
Thank you.
It is so wonderful to see you here. I am really excited about your platform that I have been following since you made the declaration that Sedona is ready for a new start and a new direction. And we're here today, Kurt, to talk about your platform. So then, first of all, I know that you've been meeting with a lot of Sedonans and having small meetings and town halls and conversations and other online interviews. But for the sake of those who are listening right now and who will hear the recording, I would love to hear what motivated you in this time, Kurt, to run for mayor.
Ooh, that's a very good question. Well, the reason I'm running for the mayor, obviously, I'm a resident of 24 years. And one of the bigger issues is we as residents are not being heard. And that was the main reason for me wanting to actually run for mayor. I love the city. I'm not too happy with the direction it's been going in. Yet the residents are not so happy because we really do need to be heard and be part of the future of Sedona. So that's one good example right there.
That's fabulous. You know, we really are in an era where it's time for voices of, you know, everyday people to be heard and to empower those voices and to have leadership to do so. So I'm so happy to hear you say that. It's like, let's give our residents a voice.
Absolutely.
And I think the fact that you've been here for 24 years really allows you to tap in to the needs of Sedona residents.
Yes.
So your platform is so exciting. I've read just a couple of different initiatives that really stand out for me. And one of the things that seems to be very consistent is alleviating the traffic problem here in Sedona. So could you share a little bit more about what is the history of the traffic problem and what is your plan to remedy it?
Well, as most know, Sedona has at least 3 million tourists coming through every year. And over the years, we've, as a city, as a city, we've been trying to acclimate ourselves to this traffic and to create the plans where we could create proper traffic flow. Yet the interesting thing is I sat on many committees with the city, and it was always determined that, you know, congestion is just going to bring more congestion. So the real answer to this is managing the traffic, which is the reason why I believe it's best for us to just implement a park and ride program and incentivize every tourist coming through here to park their car, hop on a very exciting transportation system, and that way we can get them all over the city. But this traffic issue has been such a thorn in everyone's side, and it's been a very slow process to alleviate these problems. And this slow process needs to be sped up quite a bit.
Fabulous. Yeah, I love hearing that. You know, if Sedona wants to be a model for the world, which is, I think, and let's start with, you know, a model for this country. You know, I think having these 21st century solutions are very important. So park and ride. I from what I've read too, the transportation plan involves potential clean energy solution as well. Did you want to talk a little bit more about the park and ride and what mode of transportation our visitors would be using, visitors and locals alike, I assume?
Well, when we take a look at the transportation plan, what's important is, and I'm going to talk into the future, but let's start right here and now. We have a
Okay.
trolley program already in place. So I would like to speak with the owners of the trolley program, because when we look at Sedona's transportation system, one of the most important things that I believe we as a city need to recognize is we're a destination location. We're different. People come here to explore and experience things, different things. And so I would like to be able to implement many, many things in the city to where others are coming and being educated through our innovations. So if you look online on our website, kurtforsedona.com, we've placed, for example, eco-friendly trolley systems. So that way we could keep that experience of the trolley. We could work with the trolley business that's already in town. Yet then you could look at more futuristic type transportation. So you'll see the trolleys online, but then you'll also move into a trackless tram system that is all electric, rechargeable. It's all on magnetic strips. And you can see there would be designated lines along that path. So that way we could also implement our pedestrian, our bike paths, and keep all of them safe too, because as people are driving around Sedona, they're looking everywhere, and it's extremely dangerous for those who are walking or riding their bikes. So we want to make sure they're safe also. But the park and ride program, usually when you get on transportation, it's boring and there's not much going on. But we want to change that. We want to show everyone how exciting this can be, and to be on a hop on, hop off type system to where you can get anywhere in the city.
That's fabulous. Yeah, it's very much needed too. And I know that there are other townships and cities in this country and actually in the world that, are actually designating pedestrian only sections to their cities. And it seems like that's the direction you're moving, promoting also more bicycle transportation. The one other piece on the traffic and transportation issue, I've read too that you really want to move forward with the Tlaquepaque pedestrian crosswalk, which I understand has been delayed for quite some time. Did you want to speak a bit on that?
Yes. Well, first thing I want to actually make sure everybody's aware of. Now, I love creating business models, ideas, yet I need everyone to know we're going to come together and work through this together. So I don't want everyone to think that I'm the boss and I'm going to make the decisions. No, we're going to do that together. So when you look at Tlaquepaque, this is I sat on the fiscal year budgeting committee 16-17 where traffic was our main issue. And we really wanted to succeed in helping the mayor and the city council decide on what would be the better preventative measures. So the Tlaquepaque crosswalk at that time, we suggested strongly, let's get that eliminated so we can keep that flow coming through. And so we offered preventative measures. Well, those preventative measures weren't quite followed. And as you can see, 3 years later, they finally decide, well, hey, let's do something about this crosswalk. Well, we can't wait and just sit by and not have things happen. But when we do, now apparently the city is working on something, but that surprises me. Why aren't the residents involved in this? Because everyone has such great ideas. And I would like to hear all those ideas so that way we can implement them into some sort of a business model and then present that to the city again and say, hey, what do you all think? And if it doesn't work, well, let's start drawing it up again. Let's figure this out. But that's what's extremely important, that everyone's involved. And it's sad because people are not being involved like they would like to be, and they're becoming extremely discouraged. So this is part of the process. Yet once I'm in office, we're going to get everyone involved. We're going to have fun with this, and then we'll move forward on these quickly instead of just taking our time with it.
I just love that, again, giving everybody a voice, that the empowerment of each individual that lives in the community. And that's that conversation, that town hall model, where we really get to bridge a divide, if you will, and discover if there are divides by having leadership that is committed to listening to everybody's needs and concerns.
Yes.
So I'm really, really motivated by your leadership approach, Kurt. What I'm really curious about as well. You're a 24-year resident here, and I'm just curious, being fairly new, how did Sedona governance and management get to where it is today? And what I mean by that, just based on what I'm hearing you say and talking to others, there seems to be a separation from having conversations with the community. There seems to have been ongoing delays, decades long from what I hear, on certain initiatives. And I'm just wondering if you have any perspective on how did we move away from being a vibrant community where everyone's voice is heard to where it seems somewhat fragmented now, if I could make that observation. So comment on that a bit, please.
Well, it all, and another little disclaimer here, I'm not talking bad about anybody, but when you take a look at our current leadership, I don't believe we've got the leadership that we need. We need some leadership in there with the courage and the character, and not to mention the love for every resident to move forward. And what's happened over time, and me included, because I am a resident, discouraged. I became extremely discouraged because we want to be part of the process, every one of us. But there's so much with regards to non-communication that many of the residents are becoming very discouraged, and they're just giving up and not wanting to be part of anything at this point. But then again, there's many residents who are hanging in there. And that's what I want to create, is total transparency. Last night at our meeting, when we did the little town meeting over there, I guess if that's what you want to call it, it was a greet and meet over at Old Sedona. We had a gentleman who literally specializes in communication. And we had some others show up too, which I'm so thankful for. Communication is, we really need to have as much communication as possible. And for an example, the website that the city uses, it's pretty boring, and it's not easy to use, it's not user friendly. And there's not a lot of communication going on. So we're going to open up streams of communication so that way everyone has an opportunity to communicate. And that would be from the younger who are, who really know the computers and such these days. But we also have to think about our age demographics and the fact that many who are older do not have that type of communication. So we're going to create that additional communication so that way everybody can be involved. Even if I'm calling people at their home on their phone, because I do love chatting with everybody, I'll make sure that we are communicating.
I love that.
And total transparency.
Yeah, I really love about your website too, that we can type in our questions and then you actually address them online. And in these meet and greets, that's fabulous. Neighborhood groups that are sure that our elderly's voice is also heard. I wanted to dive in a little bit more now to some of the more specifics in your platform. And one of the things I read was you have a model for the elderly here in Sedona. I mean, our demographics, the majority of the population here, I think, is 62 and up, if I read correctly. But tell me a little bit more about elderly wellness, independent living model. Just what are you envisioning?
Well, I envision everyone living life. That's the most important. And to be able to create the cultural events here so that way we can live life. But when I think about, I took care of my mother, and I don't mean personally, I made sure that I watched over her for many years, protected her, kept her safe, and made sure that she was extremely comfortable and that we went out and did things all the time, and that she was able to live life all the way up until her last breath. I want that for everybody. I would like everyone to be able to live a healthy lifestyle and to be able to do anything and everything they would like to do. And one of the most important things, and when I talk about this, don't look at me as a developer. No, I do have those experiences and skill sets, yet I'm not looking to develop Sedona. But when you look at our elderly age groups, there's nowhere for them to go if they want to transition from, say, the big home they're in. But the most important thing is, let's allow all of them to transition within their home. So that way, in other words, we can make that transition the home around them until it's maybe time for them to downsize, a bit, and then hopefully create a program so they can downsize, be protected, be within a community, and then continue to live life. And a lot of them now, when they do reach that place in life, there's nowhere to go in Sedona, so they have to leave Sedona. And a lot of them are hoping that maybe their family will take care of them. Yet here in America, unfortunately, we don't have that mindset, which is
Yeah.
not good, because we need to respect our mothers and fathers and take good care of them.
Well, if we just look at history and other cultures, I mean, a healthy culture, a healthy community takes care of their elders and mentors their youth. So what I'm hearing you say is, again, let's be inclusive. Let's provide quality of life to all residents of Sedona, including our elderly. Let's be sure they're included in our decision making, and that they're not isolated, but have healthy alternatives to be interactive and involved in the community. That leads me to developing our next generations here in Sedona. And what is your vision? What are your plans for youth leadership, education opportunities? How can we include our youth and empower our youth in decision making here for Sedona?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, empowering the school systems, empowering the kids too. It's weird saying that, because I still feel like I'm in my, say, early 30s, but so I still feel like a kid. Don't look like that kid anymore, but I've got that kid heart, and I really do appreciate the younger generations. And now, even the older generations, because I want to mention this, it is so important for us to learn from the older generations. And I always picture the younger generations learning from the older generations so they can not make the same mistakes that we've all made, but to move that much further ahead. And by empowering them and creating responsibility for them, now we're going to get them, what I would say, kind of get them on track, because I'm seeing a lot of our younger generations out there lost, not knowing what to do, experimenting with all kinds of things. And it's not only dangerous, it's not good for them. And so I would like to help redirect them with all of you. And so that way we can come together. And here's an example: create these really fun roundtables, and we'll create specific subject matter where the city needs to start moving forward and thinking about what we're going to do, and then bring the various backgrounds and subject matters together in or various backgrounds, various what do I want to say, from young to old generations, and
Sure,
bring them together.
their perspectives. Yeah.
Yes. And that way the younger
Absolutely.
generations can now learn, but also get more involved and become part of our future. And not only would they want to stick around, they'd want to be a part of everything. And they're going to be our future leaders. So why not prepare them and get them ready for this?
Yeah, and I think they're definitely ready. You know, I'm also the creatrix of the Sedona Community Resiliency Group, which is why I'm just so inspired by your platform. The inclusiveness of elderly as part of our decision making, youth leadership. And the other thing that I was really impressed with was some of what you want to do with respect to the environment and our trails. Could you talk a little bit about that, please?
Well, whenever I look at Sedona, I see Sedona as a leader, and a leader within destination locations, yes, but a leader with regards to creating business models that would not only benefit the city and benefit the resident, but also benefit everyone coming through the city. Now, you're talking about trails and such. You know, one of the major issues that we've had over time is our relationship with the Forest Service. And I would like to be able to really create a better relationship with the Forest Service. So that way, and I can say that a lot of residents are out there volunteering their time to maintain these trails, to maintain the beauty of the red rocks, because we do get some graffiti on these red rocks. And so they're out there eliminating that graffiti, and bless them for that. We even have those who are older. I spoke to a gentleman in his 70s who's part of the search and rescue team. And I thought, oh, power to you. That's so cool. And so through these residents, we're able to also help with the trails, etc. We do need to educate those who are coming in. And that's going to be one of the big platforms here, is to educate everyone as they're coming into the city. So that way they know to pack in and pack out all of their trash and such. But as some have mentioned, including you, Shera, to literally create those trash receptacles so that way they have a place to put their trash instead of just leaving it out there. Right. Also water, we need to create more safety for them also. And we do have a great fire department, police department, but along those lines, education.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to hear that because, you know, as you said, we want to be a model city. And that's one, I love that you mentioned that relationship with the Forest Service, because it's something that I hadn't considered. But if we want to educate our visitors, 3 million plus, we at least need to have, you know, the recycle bins at the trails, at our resorts, in the places where people are gathering, and then of course the bins for our landfills. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more of that happen. And then, you know, just the message, leave no trace.
Yes, yes. And by educating people who are coming through Sedona, they're going to take that home and hopefully respect their home a lot more where they live.
And that's already happening in many, many communities. So I think it's actually expected here in Sedona that we would be leaders in that arena. There was another part of your platform I wanted to just touch upon as well, Kurt, and which I thought was very innovative. And you mentioned workforce housing. And could you talk a little bit more about this?
Well, you know, many of the residents, we don't want to see a lot of development. We don't want to see 2-3-story high apartment buildings. You know, we really want to keep the character of Sedona and pay attention to our future with regards to that. Yet, starting with, now when I say that word, starting with, some people think that I'm going to go way out into the universe and bring everyone in the world here. No, I'm thinking of our police department and our fire crew and our teachers. So I want to really focus on them, because when you think about our police department, they're actually leasing automobiles, driving them back to wherever they're living, which is not Sedona. And that's a cost, that's an expenditure for us. And when you take a look at those leased automobiles, we're actually paying for that mileage at the end of that lease. So, but also I'd like to integrate our police force within the community. So that way the neighborhoods would know our police. They would be part of the neighborhoods. They would be there also to help protect and keep everyone safe. Same thing with the firefighters, because when I was a firefighter here, it was fantastic, because if anyone had a problem in my neighborhood, I was first responder, I was there. So I could maintain life while the fire department was on their way. And then from there, we've got the golden hour, of course, and we've got our emergency room in town, which, by the way, that's going to be another motivation here, is to keep that emergency room in place and keep that cancer center in place also. And I've been talking to physicians lately, and I won't go that direction yet, but I have been talking to physicians and they want the same thing. And I think that's extremely important with our age demographics.
That's fabulous. I see that as very innovative and something that I think a lot of us wouldn't think of, but for those that are on the front line and are providing wellness and safety for our community, also providing housing and affordable housing here right in the community for educators and like you said, there are protectors.
Yes.
So that's I love that. I didn't know you were a previous firefighter. I missed that in your bio.
Oh, yes.
Respect for that.
Yeah.
Yes. So a couple more questions here, because I know you have a couple other presentations that your live events that you have today. So this question actually, you know, this is a question that we could ask any leader in the world, starting at the civic level all the way to the federal level. But you're a champion, and I'm going to present this question to you. So we are living in unprecedented and challenging times. what is your plan, or what are your thoughts about how we can stimulate the local economy from within? Not always dependent on externals, but how can we stimulate our local economy from within in this time of COVID?
Wow, there is, it's
I
unfortunate, but
know.
there is so much fear out there. Um, you know, as a community, the first thing that we want to do as a community is to support all of our small businesses. And I recommend to everyone, stay safe, obviously. You want to make sure that you're comfortable and staying safe. Most of the city is, and I can say that the residents here, without the mandate in place, they are considerate. They are thinking about others. And when they do get into closer proximity with others, they're wearing the mask out of respect. So I would always recommend supporting our small businesses. Get out and talk with the workers and get to know the owners of these small businesses, because they are suffering a bit, with the revenue drops. Yet we can support them and go out and take out orders or do what it takes to whatever we can do to help them. And so I would recommend to every resident, we've been cooped up so much, do what you can to get out, get some fresh air, and order to go or do whatever you can to support them, and do some shopping locally also.
And there's so many more ways to look at stimulating the economy. And those are discussions that I think everyone's looking forward to having once you're elected. So just a couple more questions here, Kurt. The one if you want to just address it a little bit more, I think you already have. But again, back to Sedona becoming a model, a model city, a model community for let's start with the country. Just maybe three ways that we can really become a model.
Well, healthier lifestyles, very big. Many years ago, I was sitting on various committees these were private committees around the city. Deborah Emanuel, a lot of people know her also for really wanting sustainability and to work with Sedona Gardens and things. So we had tried to speak more about and implement local gardens and such, so people could be involved and learn more about a healthier lifestyle. Yet, as most have noticed in Sedona, there's a lot more talk than there is action, and those types of committees tended to dwindle away. Yet, everyone stayed focused. Everyone, like myself and Deborah, we were creating business models and writing up business plans for such a thing also. So this is something that I know we can be a leader in. And this is one of the reasons why I talked about, let's say, for example, Sedona Gardens. Now, that's not really going to be the name, because I want all of us to come together and create the name. But when you look at, did you want me to go off onto this 300 acres out here and the gardens out there and some ideas, some thoughts?
Again, how we can be a model. I know community gardens, the concept of community gardens, just in our resiliency group, over 100 say yes to gardens.
Yes.
But we haven't been able to move forward with that as far as healthy lifestyles, bringing people together. It's a social wellness. It's intergenerational.
It is.
So, and it's certainly not a new concept. Some of the healthiest communities in this country have community gardens. So
and
there's a few here, but just how can we be a model? It's like we've talked about, environmental impact and trails. We're touching upon gardens. You're mentioning so often, wellness. Wellness is so important. Integration of our generations. Whatever else you'd like to share about how we can be a model.
Wellness includes many things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wellness is involved. I mean, when you look at our the culture itself, I picture people coming to Sedona and learning about many different things. We have 3,000 artists in this city, and I would love to be able to see our artists out. And I'm literally talking to an artist today about creating a place for them to show off their work, to be part of, because I remember the day when we go to some of these artist shops or stores, and they'd be doing their work. They would be working on a sculpture, or they'd be working on a painting. And that's kind of even dwindled away. And so all cultural events, and I'm even talking about outdoor music, but don't get frightened out there, guys. Outdoor music, the sound needs to be managed. So, but outdoor music, theater, comedy, and we have all our actors and our comedians, and we have these people here. They're not implemented into our cultural events around the city. And in fact, our cultural events have actually declined over time and
Yeah,
ceased
I've
to
noticed that.
exist.
And
Yeah, so
I've
we're
been
gonna
visiting here. Yeah,
go ahead.
I've been visiting here for about 30 years, and I've noticed a big changes in the last 10, 15. But I love, again, this vibrancy. I feel there's so much vibrancy in your platform and in your vision and your plans, like uh, bringing culture back in this interaction with our artists. It's a beautiful village model. So anything else you'd like to share how Sedona is once again going to become a model community for our country?
Well, we can be a model to our country in many different ways. Eco-friendly. The gardens that I've been talking about are basically gardens where we educate ourselves to begin with, and then we educate the world as they're coming through our tourism. And that doesn't mean increasing tourism, just educating those who are coming through. And then that way they get to go home and share with their towns and their residents and get them excited. And if they need to come back to revive, which most do, come on back to Sedona. We'll get you revived, and then you can go on back. Or we can reach out and do different programs wherever people may want us to implement things for them. Sure.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, people come to Sedona to be revived. That's like this is a destination for emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual revival. So I'm just looking forward to seeing the manifestation of these visions and plans. So one last question for you, Kurt, and this is for old and new Sedonans alike. For those that have been here for 30, 40 years, and for those like myself that have made this a new home, what makes you the best choice for mayor who's going to lead our community in a new direction where no one is left behind?
Oh, that's a great question. And, everyone who I talk with, you'll all notice I look you straight in the eyes and I listen. And I do not forget. That is huge. That is the biggest thing that we're missing here through our leadership, is we as residents are not being listened or heard, I should say. That would be number one. Also, to be able to lead this city with the courage and character and the love for all of you, and really move us forward through all of our ideas together. Because I know that one thing that's being missed is our city council and such are not actually hearing us. And I'm saying us because I am a resident. And this is part of my platform that is extremely important. Residents must be heard. Residents must be part of the forward motion of Sedona. And without you, this city, as you can see, right now, without the residents being involved, this city is going into declines that are far greater than I ever expected. And I truly love Sedona. And give me a second. I've been coming up here since I was a child, and Sedona was my second home. And I came up here knowing I could get away and be part of nature and revive and cleanse and just feel so good about life. And that's what I want to see everyone able to do, is live life while you're here, and to show others in this world how we can live life. But with regards to leadership, there's many things with regards to this leadership, which includes our budgeting, which includes our spending, which I'm not happy with some of the spending that's been going on, with regards to paying attention for our small business owners and our residents, because I'm not seeing the communication. I'm not seeing our small business owners being questioned along with their marketing teams. What do you think about our future? So these are things that we're going to do together. We're going to bring everyone together. We're going to talk about this. And this is the type of leadership we need. And leadership that's not going to just, cut ribbons and go to parties. This is a full-time 24/7 position. And we need to all be involved. And I'm going to need to be involved 24/7 to make sure that we're directing Sedona in the right direction and then manage everyone in the process.
That's fabulous, Kurt. So a couple more things I just want to add. kurtforsedona.com. That's kurtforsedona.com. If you'd like to write in Kurt's platform, his website is set up to hear your voice, to send any question you want, and it'll be addressed either in a live event prior to August 4th election,
Yes,
or
and
on a
people are
future-
voting now. Yeah,
Yeah,
people are
and-
voting now. So
you can
yeah.
vote now, mail in, but I just wanted to talk about your schedule for a moment. So you can write in your questions. Kurt addresses them in live events and in online events. And Kurt, I think you've got an appearance. Where are your appearances this week? Where can we meet you live?
Well, on Wednesdays, we're at Old Sedona Bar and Grill, and we'll be outside. So we are watching the distancing, and if people need to wear masks, wear a mask, but we are distancing.
That's 5 to 7, right?
That's 5 to 7. Thank you so much.
Okay.
We're also meeting in front of the Gelato, Sedona Gelato, Red Rock Gelato, which is in the Harkins Theater parking lot on Saturday mornings from 8 a.m. to 10 when it's much cooler. And we're doing the same thing there. We want to respect the distancing and masks, so we're doing the same thing there. And then while we're at these locations, I highly recommend everyone support those businesses also that are around us, because that gelato is amazing. But yeah, definitely support them. And those are two. We also have a couple of ads coming out in the paper, so you could read more about the platform, some of the things that we're considering for all of the residents, that is.
Is that the Red Rock News, Kurt?
That's the Red Rock News, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fabulous. All right, so August 4th election, you can also do a mail-in. Kurt is available to meet live, and please share this interview with anyone you know in your Facebook community, or you should even be able to send it by email. Kurt Gelbach for Sedona Mayor 2020, and thank you so much, Kurt, for taking the time today to take a deeper dive into your platform, Sedona for Sedonans, New Start, New Direction.
Thank you. And Shera, you are so beautiful. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm so happy to be here, and to find a leader whose values are so in alignment with what communities really need today. So, all right. Have a fabulous day, Kurt. Thank you so much.
I will. You too. And everyone else out there, have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yay.
How do you feel?
That was really nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it too. I think we had a nice flow. Wait, it says it's still recording. Hope